let's get to cooking. This is what we're doing today at Memaw's house. Hey y'all, welcome back to Memaw's house. Today we're going to make an entree. Actually, it's our whole dinner. It's surf and turf pasta. Here are the ingredients that we'll be using for our pasta dish. And of course, I will list all of these ingredients down in the description box below. For the surf portion of my recipe, I'm using trout. It looks like salmon, but it is trout. And you can use any sort of seafood that you'd like: scallops, shrimp, lobster, crab. And for the turf part, I am using a filet mignon, a couple of fillets. And you can use any sort of turf you like as well. And that could be beef, lamb, or pork. So we'll start off by getting our pasta into some salted boiling water to cook for 8 to 10 minutes. Now, as our pasta is cooking, we're going to go ahead and butcher our trout. And the trout pieces I have cut into 5 by 2 inch pieces so that they will be easy to sear and turn in our cast iron skillet. Before searing, we're going to go ahead and season our meat. We're going to season the trout with Old Bay, garlic salt, and a little bit of Lowry's. Because each one of these seasonings already have salt included, I won't add any regular table salt or even pepper because all of it has a little bit of spice already included. Now I'm going to season both sides of my meat, and you'll notice that I have a little bit of bacon sitting on the plate with my steaks. Now my steaks and my trout both came from Aldi's, and if I can find a link or a picture, I'll post them here so that you can see what I'm talking about. These were very good priced meats, and I like to get some of my meat from Aldi's because they do have a good price generally. I think I paid a little over $9 for the trout, and then I paid $6 or $7 for the 2 steaks in one package. So it was a good deal. And these steaks were wrapped in the bacon. We'll use the bacon to season our sauce. Now that I have all of our meat seasoned, I'm going to go ahead and oil our pan and get that oil heated. About 2 tablespoons of oil I'll heat in my cast iron skillet. I'm going to start my cast iron skillet on high so that I can get it nice and warm. I'm going to make sure that it's warm enough to sear the meat because I want a nice crust on the meat. Now I'm going to start with my beef because it's going to take longer for that to sear, and that'll be the first thing in and the last thing out of the pan. But it will not be cooked all the way through. It's going to continue cooking once I get it back in the sauce, and I'll show you what I'll do to that when I get to that phase. In the meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and get my trout put in. It does not have skin on it. We don't want skin on it. I removed the skin so that we can go ahead and get that seared as well. That won't cook all the way through either. We're just searing it. The beef will sear for about 3 minutes on each side, and the trout will sear maybe 1 to 2 minutes on each side, and I'll remove it from the pan. So I'm going to put on some good searing music while I clean up the kitchen and get some of these things put away. Now I believe all of my meat have a good crust. I'm going to go ahead and turn it to the next side, and we'll let that get a good crust as well. Now it won't stay long on this side. I'm going to go ahead and take that out and put it back on my cutting board so that I can then get my veggies cut up and we can start our sauce. Now that all of my trout is done, I'm going to go ahead and remove it from the pan. And you'll notice I have not put any more oil in the pan until now. I'm going to add a little bit of butter to the pan so that I can get some flavor going, and we'll be able to remove some of those good bits off the bottom of the pan. And then we can begin making our sauce. Now, while the butter is melting, I'm going to let these steaks sear just a little bit more and get some of that flavor from the butter while I cut up an onion and get our sauce started. Finally. Now, to add more flavor to our sauce, I'm going to add that bacon that was wrapped around the filet mignon and get that browned up so that it can add flavor to the sauce, like I said. Now, while the onion is sauteing and adding some flavor and the bacon is doing the same, let's go ahead and add my frozen garlic. I had chopped up some garlic. You know, I bought a big bag of garlic from over at Sam's Club. And I chopped up the garlic and put it in the freezer in ice cube trays so that I could have it for such a time as this to make a good sauce with some garlic in it. So that was about a tablespoon of garlic, and I'm cutting up the rest of the onion so that I can put that in the sauce as well. Now the steaks are nice and brown on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and remove them and Continue to add the ingredients to the sauce. Now this meal pulls together pretty quickly when we get to this phase. The spaghetti looks like it's done. I'm going to pull it off of the eye because I don't want to remove it from the water that's there because I may need that pasta water to thin the sauce a little bit. But she looks like she's ready, and I'm going to go ahead and get her out of the way so that I can get my sauce done. Now, at this time, let's go ahead and cut up our bacon into bite-sized pieces. Now I'm going to grab some of my basil that I have grown in my little garden out on my deck. And with my kitchen shears, I'm going to cut these into small pieces so that they can add some flavor as well. Now you'll notice that I have not added any more seasonings to the pan because the pan is well seasoned with all the stuff that I've put in it so far. Now it's time to add our heavy whipping cream. I'm going to add half of my amount here that I have in the quart jug, and if I need to add more to thin it down a little bit, I will do that. But right now, let's start with this. And we'll stir this, not with this wire whisk, because you see that basil wants to stay on that. So I'm going to get a spoon, and we're going to stir this until it thickens as it cooks down. Now I've turned the heat up just a little bit so that I can get it to a simmer because I'm going to add about 2 ounces of cream cheese just to help it thicken. And just with these ingredients, this sauce is keto friendly because I have not added any type of thickener, any cornstarch or flour, and we won't need to because the heavy whipping cream and the cream cheese will thicken the sauce nicely. If you want to add some cheese, you can do that. I just choose not to add any mozzarella or any type of cheese like that. I will add Parmesan cheese later on, but right now I'm not adding any other type of cheese. And we'll let this simmer for about 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, until it cooks down to the thickness I'd like. Now it has been about 4 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and cut my meat since I've let it rest because I didn't want it dry going into the sauce. I'm going to cut my meat into maybe 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 inch slices so that we can add those in as well. All right, let's give it that final stir, and we'll go ahead and add in our meat. Now you see how that steak is not cooked all the way through and we got juices going in. That juice is going to add some flavor to that sauce as well. So that meat is going to cook in that hot boiling sauce. So you don't worry about whether the meat is going to be done. It will be done all the way through, especially if you like well-done meat, like Memaw does. So I like to make sure that the meat is done. Anyway, let's go in with our trout, and we'll get it all stirred up, put our pasta in, and we'll have a meal in just a minute. Now that all the meat is in, I'm going to try to get it covered with the sauce, but first let's add our Parmesan cheese, about 1/4 cup. Now to the pan, I'm going to go in with the spaghetti that I did not drain purposefully, so that that little bit of starch, this is where it does not meet the keto standards. But we're not trying to eat keto today. If you want to eat this meal in a keto fashion, get you some shirataki noodles or some other type of noodles, zucchini noodles that may be conducive to the keto diet. We're going to eat past the keto today. So let's get the pasta stirred in and get the sauce coating all the meat and the pasta, and we'll be ready to eat. Now for the final touch, I'm going to go ahead and cut up a few more basil leaves on top to make it all pretty and add that basil flavor, and we'll be done. And there you have it, surf and turf pasta from Memaw's Kitchen. And I'm going to serve this with a simple side salad and a little bit of dressing, and we're good. Thank y'all so much for watching today's video. I hope you give this recipe a try. Here's another video that may interest you in a playlist as well. Go on over and check it out. Y'all be blessed. Bye.